Welcome everyone to the third annual Spoiled Rotten Awards.
You're now rocking with TDF Everything. Spoiled Rotten.
Spoiler alert.
Welcome and welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
It's me, Daniel,
And this is Ben.
on Spoiled Rotten, and we have made it to the third annual Spoiled Rotten Awards. This is the Spoileys, as we called it last year.
Yep.
We introduced a new category last year, but yeah, we have some surprises this year, so hopefully you're enjoying it. If you're new to the award show, this is not like we pick one winner. We both have winners here. There might even be more than two winners this time if you're paying attention to what happens this episode. But yeah, we're just celebrating what we liked out of what we reviewed last year. What did we review last year? Let me give you a refresher. We started off with What If Season 3 on episode 318. Then we did Creature Commandos on episode 319. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was episodes 321 and 324. Invincible Season 3 was episodes 322, 326, and 328. Captain America Brave New World was episode 323. Daredevil Born Again was episodes 327, 329, 332. Watchmen Chapter 2 was episode 330. Thunderbolts was episode 334. Last of Us Season 2 was episode 335 and 338. Ironheart, episode 342, episode 345. Superman, episode 344. Fantastic Four First Steps is episode 346. Eyes of Wakanda was episode 348. Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League, episode 350. Peacemaker Season 2, episode 354 and episode 357. Marvel Zombies, episode 355. Gen V, Season 2, episode 361. And Bat Fam, episode 362. That's all the new stuff from 2025 we reviewed last year, and where you can listen to our reviews of them and call us hypocrites if we've done something else. But hey, time has passed since those episodes. We have different feelings now.
That's
or the
right.
same. Maybe we're consistent. I don't know.
Yeah.
for you to find
And some things grow on us, some things grow off of us. But, between the newly named or rebranded Actor Awards, which used to be the SAG Awards, and the Oscars, we have the Spoileys. And the
That's
beautiful thing about it is that right from the get-go, we have watched every single one of these things.
That's right. That is the one thing you can't ding us on. We've actually watched everything we've nominated and awarded.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier there may be more than two winners sometimes, and that's because in the effort to step things up this year, we have asked friends of the podcast. They could be from our That Shelf days. They could be from Chonilla. They could be from Geek. And when I say could be, I mean definitely those three options. So please listen along. And obviously, if you're listening to this and looking at the episode notes, you know who the people are. But I'm still going to keep it a little bit of a secret until they show up. We're going to try and line it up with the categories that make sense. But spoiler alert, we did not nominate Creature Commandos for anything. So here's someone right now to give it the praise it deserves.
Hi, my name is Gavin Stephens, and I'm from the podcast Park Bench Ontology. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple. It's a podcast. You can see it, audio, video. Anyway, on your list that you guys have, I chose Creature Commandos. I really enjoyed it. It is the sort of weird, kind of misfit-y kind of monster show that's right up my alley. If you can see behind me, I have I'm collecting the Midnight Suns there, so I loved Frankenstein. I used to read Frankenstein Agents of Shade. I love Frankenstein. He was hilarious. David Harbour, even with his butt plugs. I also enjoy having a Nazi murdering robot in GI Robot. These things really fulfilled me. I enjoyed the show. That's my pick. Thank you.
And now, the best costumes.
Okay, let's get started. our first category is best costumes. Did you want to give your nominees for that?
Yeah, my nominees are, in no particular order, for best costume, Eyes of Wakanda, Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Ironheart, and Fantastic Four First Steps.
It's a good list. Sounds a lot like my list. But there's some changes, like I nominated Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League. I liked the pretty colors and I liked the different versions of those characters. Eyes of Wakanda, yeah. I thought that there was a great attention to detail there in terms of how they wanted to bring those worlds to life. Worlds that we're kind of familiar with in the case of like the Troy thing, the Odyssey. And also characters we've been familiar with, like Iron Fist. I thought that was great. The Fantastic Four First Steps. Hey man, like they pulled it off. Not just the costumes for the heroes, but that world that they created, that vibe that they did. That was great. Yeah, Superman. We got not just Superman, we got a bunch of other heroes, and they also looked good. So I definitely wanted to nominate that. And Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man had so many costumes to choose from that it's kind of like the Batman Ninja one. I liked the pretty colors.
It's a good rundown.
Is there anything you want to say about your nominees, or is it pretty straightforward?
I think it's pretty straightforward. I think for Captain America Brave New World, my love for the costumes is the full upgrades for Sam Wilson's outfit. Taking away the cowl made a whole bunch of sense, and it was a lot better. And I like that Anthony Mackie was like, all right, but put a stipulation in his contract. It's like, I'm not wearing that cowl again. So that was fun.
I didn't even know that, but that is good to know. I feel like a Christian Bale. I need to turn my head. I'm not fucking around here.
It very much does. But yeah, he was really, really insistent on that. It's like, no, this is stupid. I'm not wearing that. And because it fogged up the goggles all the time. So
there we go. It was functional on and off camera.
That's right. For Thunderbolts, I just love all the costumes, that they all thematically work together as opposed to one just really, really outshining the others. When one did outshine the others, that was from a plot point standpoint.
Yes.
That is, of course, Sentry's outfit being drastically different than everyone else's.
Yeah, when you got Val behind you, it's gonna be pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Ironheart, call me a sucker. I love a good a suit upgrade that's built into the storyline. I love it. It was fantastic to see the car that meant so much to her be the new part of the new costume. And Fantastic Four First Steps. They did 60s in a way that did not look stupid, in my opinion. Because
Agreed.
When people do 60s, it is. I know a lot of people love the 60s aesthetic, and my question always is, why? So they made it look not stupid, and it was fun. So those are my nominations.
And the spoilie goes to...
Yeah, you want me to go first?
You go for it.
Yeah, I'm going Eyes of Wakanda.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, for Eyes of Wakanda, it is a mix of the characters that we didn't get to see, like you said, Iron Fist, and then a comic accurate one. But more importantly, I'm just all in on the Afrofuturism vibe that Wakanda actually is. It is such a... I like the world that they paint, obviously, like non-colonized and all that kind of stuff, but also just how effectively their traditional cultural dress is actually technologically infused, and I think that's one of the coolest things. That you could look at it and be like, oh, that's just a piece of cloth. No, it's not just a piece of cloth. It's not just a necklace. It's so much more, and that is beautiful to me.
You have a way smarter way of answering this question. My answer is, I'm giving my award to Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League. Listen, I really like Batman, and they gave him some cool looks throughout it, plus cool looks for the Robins, which I'm also a fan of Robins. So it was a no-brainer for me. The best costumes went there for me. even though I respect everyone I nominated, and I genuinely respect all the people you nominated.
Yep.
And now, the best score.
Best score. You want to go first?
My first nomination is, again, Eyes of Wakanda. Going on the same kind of explanation, hearing all the Afrofuturism in the music and all that kind of stuff, very rhythmic. Big fan of that. Fantastic Four First Steps. Second nomination. Again, 60s, but not done in a campy, overly campy way. It worked thematically, so I was like really, really happy with that. Superman. What I love about this is like it's a blend of both the old and the new. Like I just
Quite literally,
think about, yeah. It's very much like taking the old orchestral score and then putting an electric guitar in it. I'm like, yes, awesome. Last of Us season 2, believe it or not, made this list for me because I can't think of any other kind of nomination in my mind that really, that soundtrack, the score, it sets such a somber tone of the Western story that they're trying to tell. And Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. What a great theme song. What a great theme song. Yeah.
This, I genuinely like the theme song, but the score is good too. So good that wait till you hear my nominations. My nominations for best score, much like you, Eyes of Wakanda. I thought it was very good in grounding us in the reality they wanted us to live in. All of that too, I felt like came from like the theme that played. You were kind of like, yep, I'm in, let's do this. Again, like you, the Fantastic Four. Sorry, I meant to say Eyes of Wakanda by Hisham Nazi. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and probably not even the first name. Michael Giacchino for Fantastic Four First Steps. I knew it had to be special when I took my kid, and it's a long enough movie for him, and he begged to stay so he could hear the theme throughout the credits and was like nodding his head to it. But also I feel like everyone right away was down for the Fantastic Four. I was like, yeah, what a winner. I also have Superman. It has grown on me. That's John Murphy and David Fleming. It has grown on me. At first I was kind of just like, yeah, it just serves the movie, but I've been listening to it separate from the movie, and that's got to be a good sign. I think there's some really, as you said, the guitar use, there's some really cool moments where it just comes in there and makes it its own score, and you're not really thinking, oh, they're just, riffing off of John Williams. You are like, no, this is something different and good. The only one you didn't nominate that I nominated is Thunderbolts by Sunlux. In the movie, by the time they're playing Bucky's theme, I was like pumping my fist, like, yeah, go. Yeah, I thought it was a great score. Like the Superman score, I listened to it separate from the movie, and we've already said it. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man by Leo Bernberg and Zach Robinson. The theme is amazing. There's no doubt about it, but actually listening to the score in earnest has had me nodding my head and tapping my toes. So those are my 5 for score.
Beautiful.
And the spoilie goes to...
Yeah, my winner is going to be Superman.
Nice. This has also made me realize I haven't been writing down your winners. So,
I've been taking care of it. Don't you worry.
Okay, good. Superman. Yeah, that is a good answer. Mine is 100% Thunderbolts. I mean, if people have follow me on social media, they already know this because it was part of my 10 favorite albums of the year, just in general, not comic book based. I don't think there's been a day where I haven't listened to a portion of it. I feel like it's a great text, as in just body of work to go through and sit with, and it feels like it has waves and just makes sense to me. I don't know any other way to put it than it just makes sense to me.
And now, the best supporting actress.
Best supporting actress.
That's right. And my nominations are Lyric Ross for Ironheart, London Thor for Gen V Season 2, Julia Louis-Dreyfus for Thunderbolts, Angie White for Ironheart, and the late, great Catherine O'Hara in The Last of Us.
Now, is Angie White the mom?
Yes.
Yeah, we did like the mom.
The mom was great.
These are some very good choices.
Mm-hmm.
I think I won't say what I have to say because she's passed away and she's great. But these are some good choices.
That is for Catherine O'Hara. That is a nomination because she is passed and
It's
a recognition.
a
It
good
is a
time.
posthumous nomination.
posthumous,
all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, post. Yeah,
She is humorous, but
Yeah.
no,
No, that was the joke. Because she's not funny anymore. The Lyric Ross, I think, just playing an AI and especially where we are now in our current society for how many people are reliant on AI for companionship, did a great job there. London Thor, I think the non-binary aspect of the character is something that is just fundamentally such different levels of acting that London brings to the character. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is, to me, such a great actress in appearing that she knows what she's doing and like putting that front on, but behind the scenes scrambling, being like, oh my god, what are we going to do? How are we going to salvage this and all that kind of stuff, and really does play that capable character. Angie White for Ironheart, like I said, the mom is just one of those characters that I'm like, yeah, she gets so much to do in it, and
she's such a big part of it, yeah.
Yeah, and I've already talked about Catherine O'Hara for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know how to pronounce this name, but my nominations are, I'm going to say Jonah Xiao as Iron Fist in Eyes of Wakanda. When we talked about that storyline, I mean, I feel like that was our favorite segment, but I feel like it's anchored by both performances of these people, and we'll get to that later. But like, I really thought that I know this is partly writing as well, but just the confidence in her voice and how she played the different layers of, oh, she's just a caretaker. No, she's not. She's actually doing her job and monitoring the situation. I thought that was great to get that across in a vocal performance. Lyric Ross as Natalie in Ironheart. I feel like every time we talked about it, we had to talk about her as obviously an actor I met in This Is Us as just someone who was always sad, and I don't mean that she could never do anything, but for her to completely erase that performance from my mind really meant something to me, that I was like, she is so fun, but also you care about her even though you're constantly aware, well, this is just AI, but you are just like, no, I want her to be happy. I want this AI to be happy. I also have Isabella Merced as Dina, and now I can't remember if it's Dina or Dinah, but from Last of Us Season 2. I mean, she also has a great part in Superman as Hawkgirl, but this is the one where she has to play a lot, and it's complicated, obviously. This character that doesn't even know the word for bisexual, or the concept that she feels like she has to be one or the other. The roller coaster she goes on with Ellie of like, wait a minute, are you the bad guy? I thought she played that all very well. There was like a light touch to it that didn't feel like she was trying too hard. And hey, look at that! Last of Us got like 2 nominations. That's great.
That's right.
Well, you also had it for score, but yeah, I didn't. I'm glad that we had some acting there, because if the show doesn't have acting, what does it have? That one in particular.
Yes.
Yeah, I was taken with her performance. In a year where she had another big performance in Superman. Danielle Brooks as Adebayo in Peacemaker Season 2. I feel like this season more than ever understood the power of having any character be in a scene with her. And what she can do to help elevate them, even if they're great actors. This isn't like, hey, she has to carry the show on her back. It's just they have this secret weapon in Danielle Brooks who can elevate all of her scene partners from being great to even better. And Jennifer Holland as Harcourt in Peacemaker season 2. Again, they made a point of really leaning into what they had and what they saw worked in season 1, and the strife that Harcourt's going through is great, and she gets to play 2 versions of herself. So all good stuff there.
Hey, Spoiled Rotten listeners, it's Adam, one half of the Springfield Googleplex podcast, the movie podcast for Simpson fans, brought to you by thatshelf.com. And I'm here to talk briefly about The Last of Us Season 2, which is my favorite project that the guys have covered this year. I know that this is maybe a controversial take, but I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, it wasn't as good as Season 1, and yeah, the act break, I guess we can call it, into Season 3 was maybe a bit unexpected, although I think I had clocked from the beginning that clearly Season 2 was only going to follow Ellie and not really get into Abby. But even though it's not as good as the game, and nothing could be, really, I think it is actually a very strong piece of adaptation. And I've always felt that there is a difference between adaptation and translation, and I think Craig Mazin and the rest of the Last of Us people really do understand that. This is not a translation of the game from game to film. This is a adaptation. You're going to have to make some changes along the way, and so far I haven't minded the changes. You know, the one downside, of course, being that you get less Pedro Pascal, and who wants that? But on the whole, I found it really enjoyable, and I can't wait to see what they do with Season 3, even if it doesn't include Neil Druckmann's participation. So, my choice, The Last of Us Season 2. Hopefully we'll be back on the Spoiled Rotten podcast sometime soon, and in the meantime, we'll see you around the Plex.
And the spoilie goes to...
My winner is going to be Lyric Ross as Natalie for Ironheart. Such a great performance, like you said, from the complete contrast from This Is Us to what she gets to do as Natalie and all that kind of stuff. It is just the fact that in the episode, was it 5 or something like that, when she dies and gets deleted, I'm like, no, that
Yes.
actually genuinely means more than that. And I'm like, I can fully understand why so many people right now are attached to their AI companions and partners and all that kind of stuff, and why it's providing a lot of emotional support. In that scene, I think it perfectly does summarize where we're at in the zeitgeist in regards to AI and using it for companionship and all that kind of stuff. And it's a good performance that doesn't feel like she's trying to be AI, but at the same time it's not fully human. And I think there's a level of complexity within that that's really, really neat to explore.
Yeah, I mean, we both have Lyric Ross as our winner. I don't even really feel like it was that hard for me. I made sure that everyone I nominated was someone I would stand behind winning.
Yep.
But from the very beginning, my in for Ironheart was Lyric Ross's performance. And similar to Danielle Brooks, how I was just happy if she was in a scene with anyone. It didn't really matter. I was like, yeah. And you're right. It is very obviously not quite human. That's the talent she has as an actor to make sure that that's there. But it does feel so alive in a way that other actors who are playing humans can't make their characters be alive the way she was able to do that. So yeah, it was a no-brainer for me. Lyric Ross as Best Supporting Actress. I'm glad we both gave her that.
That's right. And here, what we will say is that when we don't agree, those are gold winners. But when we do agree, that is a diamond level winner. So congratulations, Lyric Ross.
Diamond.
You are a diamond level winner to the Spoileys.
Yeah, there we go. Coining a phrase. Diamond level winner at the Spoileys.
And now, for Best Supporting Actor.
All right. I'm going to continue the trend. I'm going to continue to go first. For the first nominee, I have Derek Liu for Gen V Season 2. As much as London Thor gets to do, Derek Liu gets even more because of the interaction specifically with the parents and how that is really, really, really torn apart and all that kind of stuff. Second nomination is Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin for Daredevil Born Again. Just to be able to see Vincent D'Onofrio back in the MCU, but at the same time pushing the envelope of all those things even more. Truly fantastic. Matthew Illam for Ironheart. Doesn't get a lot of screen time, but makes a lot of great use of it. Like the emotional
That's
core.
Natalie's brother, right?
Yes, that's Natalie's brother. Gets so much to do with it, and at the same time, it's just the idea of he plays that one scene where it's like, you made my sister into an AI. I am against this.
Yeah.
He plays it with so much sincerity. It is fantastic. Tim Meadows for Peacemaker is my fourth nomination, just because he does such a good job with comedy, but also playing that corporate aspect of everything really, really well. He's one of my most favorite comedic actors. And Coleman Domingo for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man as Norman Osborn, just because I'm a big Coleman Domingo fan. And
he's great.
He does such a great job as Norman. It's great.
I like that. My nominees for Best Supporting Actor are Tim Meadows as Flurry from Peacemaker Season 2. It's going to be hard for me to not want to give Tim Meadows an award when he shows up in something. He's such a consistently funny person. And I do feel like maybe his arc was a bit rushed, but he does play the whole, oh man, like, I'm on the bad guy's side well. Like, I in the moments they let him in the edit, because I do feel like this is an editing issue. Like, in the cut they have, it's there, but you're like, wait, is that real or not? And I think he's good at making it real to me without it being edited properly. Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific. Granted, it's a character I already like, but I'd never seen him in... That's not true. I've seen him in the Arrowverse. But this was different, and it was great. I think he nailed it. He held his own in Superman as Mr. Terrific, Michael Holt. Then I have Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor in Superman. I think we talked about it. Lex Luthor is great in comics and in the cartoons, and then I find that when we get to the movies, you're kind of like, he's either like forgettable, or you're just like, I don't even see what people like about this. Not this time. I feel like he definitely took the mantle of best cinematic Lex Luthor by allowing the mask to slip in that one scene where he's like, do you understand that I don't care if you think I'm a hypocrite? I hate you. I want to fucking kill you. And that's what's happening. I'm a hater. Yes, I really am. It makes me sick knowing you're alive. I'm like, yeah, this guy gets it. This is good stuff. I also have Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Like Tim Meadows, what are you going to do? Not be like, wow, Coleman Domingo did a great job. Even when he's in something bad, you're like, I mean, he's not bad. He's doing a great job. But he's just lucky he was in a good thing as well that put him in a position to succeed. Like, there was that brief moment where he's genuinely trying to help Spider-Man be better with all the suits, and I'm like, oh, you're not evil yet, but you're still playing it like I know you shouldn't be trusted, but in this moment you are doing the right thing. I like this. There's levels to him. He was not a mustache twirling villain. And then I have Eugene Bird as Lonnie Lincoln Tombstone in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I feel like because we did this in segments, we were definitely very high on that character in the first half. He's just very well written, but I think very well realized by Eugene Bird.
Hey, spoiled rotten listeners and fans, and of course, hey to Daniel and Ben. Andrew Young from Geek here, host of the Geek podcast and radio show, and host of Back Issue Bloodbath, a podcast all about comic books and great comic stories. Now, if you've listened to episodes from the past year of Spoiled Rotten, or if you've listened to any episode of any of my shows, it's not going to be a surprise on what I pick from the list of the Spoiled Rotten reviews. My pick is Daredevil Born Again. It was one of my favorite television series of last year. And I could watch Matt Murdock and Kingpin face off in a game of cat and mouse for hours. And this entire story of seeing these two characters on highs and lows, Kingpin looking down on Matt Murdock in the city, Matt Murdock trying to find himself after the loss of Foggy. A lot of great hard-hitting stuff. Now, I'm looking forward more to season 2 because I think we're going to get a lot more of the supporting characters, but the performances of Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio as Matt Murdock and the Kingpin, hands down, my favorite performances of last year on television, and it is the reason why that is my pick for the best of. Thanks a lot. Check us out. geekcardshow.com.
And the spoilie goes to...
My winner is going to be Derek Liu from Gen V Season 2.
Makes sense. I like
he
that.
gets so much to do. The one downfall of it is that because the character has to share screen time with another actor, in that sense, it truly makes it a unique performance in that they both have to be on the same page, but then both bring different aspects related to gender norms to that. And then also, like I said, the performance that he has in the confrontation with the parents and all that kind of stuff, and it's such a great performance to me. It really stands out.
That it is a really great performance. I kind of wish I had room in my 5 to nominate him and is it London Thor?
Yes.
Yeah, both people really make that character so interesting and great to watch. But yeah, I didn't have room because, as I said, I tried to make sure these were all 5 that I'm like, yeah, these are. And I'll be honest, I forgot to think of him, but that I'm glad that you're here to make sure that that's there. My winner is Eugene Bird. I think that as much as the Coleman Domingo performance is good, there's something so surprising about Eugene Bird's characterization of Lonnie Lincoln. His approach to the voice, because obviously a lot of this is he brought to life what was written for him, but the choices he made it so interesting to watch the way we watched it. I think we both agreed he kind of got sidelined by the end, even though I understand he's on screen, but the development they were doing with his character seemed to kind of go on hold. But up until that point, I was like, yeah, I would just watch him, even though this is supposed to be a Spider-Man show. Like, I'm so happy with what they chose to do with him. So yeah, Eugene Bird is my winner for Best Supporting Actor.
Nice. Very, very good.
And now, the Best Actress.
My first nomination is Rachel Brosnahan for Superman. The way she plays out that complexity aspect of really that interview scene of how much she presses him and holds him accountable to his actions and his language and all that kind of stuff, and really is like, hey, if this is on the books, you're getting that version of Lois Lane. You're not getting the version of Lois Lane that we're in an apartment together and all that kind of stuff. And plus the added element of like, oh, she's actively trying to break up with him is just such a fun thing that she has to layer into the performance as well. Florence Pugh for Thunderbolts, I think one of the most easily relatable characters that I've seen in the MCU for a very, very long time, especially that scene where she's breaking down with her dad and being like, hey, all I do is work, look at my phone, do this, all that kind of stuff. I feel lonely. I think a lot of us can identify with that, what that hamster wheel feels like right now. Dominique Thorne for Ironheart. I think Dominique Thorne really, her character doesn't get a lot to do from a range standpoint, I think, but she does do a great job of that in Ironheart. I actually put Danielle Brooks in Peacemaker as Adebayo in the Best Actress category because I'm very, very much like, no, she's actress, like not supporting in there. So putting her in there as Adebayo, because like you said earlier, everything that she gets to do with another person is fantastic, and it's just like the idea of teleporting to the Nazi universe and just how she's reacting to everyone being like, oh my god, there's a black person out and about walking around and all that kind of stuff, and that level of fear and that she puts to the performance of just running away from everyone, and that survival is just fantastic. And finally, Iman Vellani from Marvel Zombies, because man, like you said in the previous award show, you said Iman Vellani was the best cast Marvel character, and it's hard to disagree with that when you see the way she even characterizes her vocal performance in an animated thing. It is so wonderful, and then also to be like, yeah, she's the same voice, she's the same actor from the movies in here, and that's not always the case, but for her it was, and I'm like, yes, huge points for her, for sure.
All right, my 5. I have Jazz Sinclair as Marie Morrow in Gen V Season 2. Yeah, I think that I was always on board with her from the beginning, but just the path she's on of like, please let me save the one person, and how she's pushed in this second season in particular by Cypher, who was going to be in my best supporting actor, but then I was like, no, there's better people. But yeah, just that the push she has there of being like, yeah, like I need to like get my shit together, or when she has to fight London Thor's character, and you're just like, oh boy, this is rough stuff. I thought she handled everything that was thrown at her very well, and never got unlikable for me, which I feel like could be very easy with the way they've written the character. I'm always on her side, and I think that's important. I also have Dominique Thorne as Ironheart in the show Ironheart. Important to mention because she's also in Marvel Zombies. But yeah, what I liked about the character is she's challenging. She's very prickly, and not for the reasons people say, like, oh, she's disrespecting Tony Stark. It's more because you do see how she's created this shell, or like this thing of armor, and not letting people in. That you are challenged to see things from her point of view, and I feel like she layers that very well, including the fact that she ends her season with making a deal with the devil, because you're like, yeah, I see how we got to here based on her performance. I think it's very good. Iman Vellani as Ms. Marvel in Marvel Zombies, she truly carried it. Did I understand fully what the point of Scarlet Witch's plan was? No, but that has nothing to do with how Iman Vellani brought that character to life through animation and her voice. Yeah, you already said it. I think she is one of the best cast characters because we don't know her from anything else. And the way that you are just like, yeah, that's Ms. Marvel. Every time she opens her mouth, every time you see her, she embodies that character, and you're just like, as the character, because I've seen her in commercials now, like in front of movies where she's not Ms. Marvel. I'm like, yeah, see, she's acting, because that's not Ms. Marvel. Yeah, I really like her, and I was happy they structured that event around her character, because she, like Dominic Thorne, was able to, and Jazz Sinclair, take on whatever they threw at her and make it work. Boy, you'd think I'd have memorized this. Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane. You already said it. Like, what she's doing in that movie, yeah, I am a Margot Kidder fan for Lois Lane, but she rivals that with this in terms of, you see the tenacity, and she gets to do a lot more, and she also has, and I know this has nothing to do with her acting, this is how it's written, but it is that she doesn't have the issue that other Lois Lanes have had, where not all of them, like, but Elizabeth Tulloch doesn't have this issue when we see her in Superman and Lois, but she doesn't have to do the whole, I know he's Superman, but he's not going to let me know. So she gets to play something else, which is, I know he's Superman, and I kind of just don't want to do this anymore. And I really, I just thought this was a great way. I'm already a Rachel Brosnahan fan, but she fit into that universe very well, and she gets to bounce off of other, like, one of my favorite moments is her getting mad at Guy Gardner. Like, maybe your oath should be about your stupid haircut. She's great in it, and she just holds her own. It's great. And then finally I have Florence Pugh as Yelena in Thunderbolts. You already said it. The scene where she's with Alexei, the scenes where she's with Bob and just relating to him, all of it works. And then she's just cool, like in that first scene where she was like, hey, I know what you're going to try and do. You're going to try and talk me out of this. I'm just like, she's just a really, for me, likable character that I want to hang out with. And I like that she's on this doomed track of being like, hey, I want to be a hero. I want to get to be part of the limelight, so that when she's thrown into it, she sees that as a win, and we're kind of like, oh, that's not going to go well. But you do, or at least I do, feel like, you know what, that's a win because that's what she wanted. And maybe it's not a win. I should say I'm happy that she's happy right now. Those are my 5 nominees.
Hey, Spoiled Rotten fans. This is Courtney Small calling from thatshelf.com, POV Magazine, Exclaim, and also the curator of BlackCanadianFilm.ca. My favorite project of 2025, surprisingly enough, was Thunderbolts. I did not expect to be so wrapped up in the world of the Thunderbolts. Not only is it a fun film that brings back a lot of the characters like Yelena and Bucky that we've grown to love in the Marvel Universe, but by introducing Bob, aka Robert Reynolds, Thunderbolts really offered an interesting and captivating look at mental health, loneliness, and really reminded us all that we really need to get out and communicate with each other in person, and that we can't survive life on our own. This is very much a film about togetherness and building bonds of friendships and those types of families that you may not necessarily have been born with, but you really can't live without. Absolutely love the film.
And the spoilie goes to...
My winner for this is Florence Pugh. Like you just said, the vulnerability in her acting, the coolness and all that kind of stuff, how it transitions from the coolness in Act 1 to her being more vulnerable in Act 2 and full on just connecting with everyone in Act 3 of that. I think she gets the most range. I think she is genuinely one of the best actresses of the new actresses that I do know, and she's absolutely fantastic in this. So Florence Pugh is my winner for Best Actress.
Guess what, my friend? We got another diamond level winner. I don't even
know.
Women
are killing it.
Yeah, Florence Pugh. This, like our other diamond level, was a no-brainer for me. Yep. This was like, hey man, you put Florence Pugh as Yelena in particular in another movie where she is the lead of that, and you're just like, yeah man, you're giving her the room to breathe. I loved her. Again, I'm just talking about her appearances. I loved her in Black Widow. She's the only reason I would rewatch Hawkeye.
Yes.
Her and Kate Bishop, but I mean, it's really more like the scenes with them together.
Yes.
And then in this, just how I was genuinely moved to tears when she's talking to her dad. Yes, about the hamster wheel feeling, but when just how she's so much like, you need to be there for me. What's going on here? And David Harbour does a great job in that scene. But Florence Pugh, she's great.
Nice.
That's my winner.
And now, for Best Actor.
Best Actor.
My first nomination is John Cena for Peacemaker Season 2. He is truly by far one of the most surprising actors I've seen coming out of the WWE and fresh off his retirement year and all that kind of stuff. He that retirement run for a lot of people in the WWE, and I know this is not about what we're talking about right now, but it is a lot more poetic and clever than people give it credit for. So there's a lot of good stuff there, and I really, really implore people to look at that full retirement year for John Cena as a full movie arc, because that's exactly what he brought to the character and to the WWE. But for Peacemaker, again, wow, what range he gets, in the sense where I think one of my favorite stories from the production of season 2 of Peacemaker is that John Cena, being such a straight-laced guy, he has never smoked before in his life. So the production crew actually had to teach him how to take a bong rip. Mm-hmm. And I think that's hilarious, because similar to that in the WWE, he had never had a drink of alcohol before, but Undertaker was like, all right, let's have a drink together. And that's when he was like, all right, let me drink this. And apparently made a complete fool of himself in front of the Undertaker, which is hilarious. Second nomination is Nicholas Hoult for Superman. I genuinely think that he is not a supporting. I think he's an actor.
I mean,
in this
he definitely
regard.
is. I'll give it to you, but he's 100% supporting.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, but I think he's an actor here in this category. But wow, what a performance! He does such a good job, embodies the character so well, and between Brosnahan and everyone else, like, he's, to me, the most well-known of that cast in a leading role. Obviously, knowing what's his name, guy that plays Guy Gardner, he's a big
Nathan
name.
Fillion.
Nathan Fillion is a big name too, but like, of actual like actors that I'm like, oh, acting chops, Holt is right up there. Pedro Pascal for Last of Us season 2.
That's the egregious one.
Yeah.
I'd see these where I was like, come on, man.
No, I still like what he's done there. I don't think he was getting a lot to.
He is not the lead.
Yeah, okay. That's
he is 100% supporting.
Yeah, he is supporting, but I made a bad decision there.
Listen, it's an award show where we both award somebody and we don't come to it. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying that's definitely not the lead.
But spoilers, he doesn't win. Either way,
he did. I mean, I was hoping he would, given the category fraud, but he's
cosplaying in this for sure. No, I really do like Pedro Pascal, and I had the option of nominating him for Fantastic Four, but genuinely, I think he does such a better job in The Last of Us than as in Fantastic Four. Charlie Cox for Daredevil: Born Again. He just really grew on me for, like, Daredevil in general grew on me, but Charlie Cox himself as Daredevil and Matt Murdock, I'm like, wow, what great acting.
He grew on me outside of Matt Murdock. I was like, hey man, I'll watch you do press runs all day. You are a delight to watch in these press runs.
Yes, absolutely. And my final nomination is Anthony Mackie for Captain America: Brave New World. I think Anthony Mackie doesn't get the respect he deserves for the roles he takes. And he does such a great job, and I think a lot of people just fail to understand the racial complexity that his character has to deliver,
including some of the people who rewrote his movie. But
exactly,
there was the kernels there.
Yeah, and the big thing is that for a lot of people engaging in it in bad faith, they're just being like, oh, he's just being stoned and all this. I'm like, no, that's a choice that he has to do, and they didn't listen to his speech well enough in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because he perfectly explains it there, and everyone that has that criticism of his performance for Captain America really is just being stubborn about understanding what his character has to achieve.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. My 5 nominations. Jacques Colimon for Basha in Eyes of Wakanda. If you don't know who that is the lead of the portion or the episode that has Iron Fist in it.
Mm.
I talked about at least how much I loved his Aladdin-esque thing of just being like, hey man, I'm just here having a good time, and it's stressing everybody out. And there was a great levity to him until he needed to. The levity never leaves, but you do see where he like locks in, and he's like, this is the plan, by the way. This is what's going to save us. So I enjoyed that element of him not being the other performances are very strong of the war dogs we see, but they're all it's so rooted in I'm so sad because I hate being in Wakanda, but I have a taste of what life is like outside, and I can't hang there either. Whereas I was just like, hey, this guy is enjoying himself and understands the stakes as well. He's not an idiot. He's just trying to enjoy life. And I like characters like that. Pedro Pascal, not for The Last of Us, but for Fantastic Four First Steps, Mr. Fantastic. Now, from what I understand, people think this is a terrible representation of Reed Richards, and to that I say, good. I'm glad, because now I like this Reed Richards. I don't understand the appeal of being like, he's an asshole. I love it. I'm like, if I'm going to be watching 2 hours of this guy, I like that his performance is, I'm sorry I can't help upsetting you. I like that that's his problem, and that seeing that on screen, maybe there's the element of this is a Reed Richards, that a mode we haven't seen on the big screen because he has to deal with being a father. But I don't understand the people being like, he doesn't even seem that smart. I'm like, I don't know what you think he's going to do that makes you think he's so smart. He just is smart. And he's also in an MCU where they're like, sure, he's the smartest. That's who the smartest is. So like, it doesn't. At that point, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, he's gonna show me he's second best. I don't care.
Yeah.
What he does is he figures out a way to solve the problem that's in front of him when no one else can. So there you go. But also, that moment he has where it's more how everyone else is leaning into him, being like, I know how you are, and he's not defensive about it. He's very like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. That's who I am. I can't, like, I don't mean to hurt you. And having Sue be like, you still did. I don't know.
And I will say to those people that are like, oh, he doesn't appear to be that smart. I'm like, yeah, because the movie's exploring how he's solving the problem.
Yeah.
If he just like 100% like, I know exactly what to do, the criticism would be like, oh, so he instantly knows everying without having to work through it. And I'm just like, that's a dumb take. So
the movie's showing his work.
Yeah. And he's
still
succeeded.
dismissive. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm going to create a police state because I've policed this area where all the ne'er-do-wells are. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I liked the performance. It made me actually care about Reed Richards for the first time. Stephen Yeun as Mark Grayson, Invincible in season 3.
Nice.
Listen, if I'm being honest, I probably would nominate him every year because I think he's doing a job. But this season where he has to play multiple versions of himself, and you're just in that scene, and I understand. Yes, I have the visuals, but his choices in terms of his vocal performance as he distinguishes all of those different characters is reason enough to have him here, even though he probably would have been here anyway, because I feel like he does a great job with that character. The fact that he had to play multiple versions of himself and created distinctions is awards worthy. I also have John Cena as Peacemaker, but in Peacemaker season 2, not in Superman. He is
Forgot about that cameo.
Yeah. He's Peacemaker. Like, I remember thinking, who cares about a Peacemaker show after the Suicide Squad? I'm like, I feel like he's done, right? Like, he was great in the Suicide Squad, and that's that. But this second season proved it's not a fluke, that it is interesting to follow this character and his desire to have a family, his desire to not be the person that gets the people he loves killed. And it's like, yeah, you got your brother, well, not killed, but You did kill yourself in this one. You got your dad killed again in this one. Yes, he's funny. Yes, he can be dumb, but you are rooting for this person who just wants to be better, and I think that's important.
Yeah.
Then I have David Cornsweet as Superman in the movie Superman. I mean, yeah, he plays Ultraman too, but it's not really factoring in. I think much like Pedro Pascal, it's just that he made me care about Superman in a way that I haven't cared about him in other movies, I'll say. I think in other movies, like if we do Man of Steel, I can do the work for the movie and be like, oh, I get what they're going for with this Henry Cavill thing. In this, I'm like, no, this is all in the performance. It's there for you. You don't have to do any reaching to be like, oh, what's going on with him? It's there, and it's all good.
Hey guys, it's Rachel Ho here from Exclaim Magazine. Thanks so much for asking me to contribute to this episode. My favorite project in 2025 would have to be season 3 of Invincible. I have been a massive fan of this show since it first came out in 2021. I've just always loved how they were able to, carve out an identity for themselves amongst the many, many superhero TV shows and movies, and something that they continued to do even in season 3. So, I mean, this season, it wasn't quite as violent as the other two, but it did show us more of Mark as a person. I think they executed all of the time travel plots really well. That's always a really hard narrative device to pull off. And also, they made me terrified of Oliver. Now, I've purposely not caught up with the comic book yet, so I want to go into the show fresh, and I'm really excited for season 4 to start soon. Thanks again for asking me to participate. I'm really looking forward to hearing everybody else's pick. Talk to you guys soon.
And the spoilie goes to...
My winner is Nicholas Hoult for Lex in Superman.
I knew someone doing category 4 had to win in this. So
yeah, yes. Yeah, he's just absolutely fantastic. And I will say to those people that are like, your comment about Pedro Pascal in Fantastic Four, I'm just like, you know what? If you wanted that Reed Richards, go watch Lex Luthor, because that's what you get. But I think this version of Lex and what Nicholas Hoult brings to the performance is uniquely different than every other version of Lex, because every other version of Lex is super stoic, well composed, and all that kind of stuff. But he brings the actual jealousy and insecurity behind those motivations out in such great ways. Like you said, the mask slipping and all that kind of stuff. It is absolutely fantastic that he understood the level of narcissism and what drives narcissism in Lex. It is that just jealousy of like, I can't be better than him, so I got to bring him down. Yeah. It is fantastic. I think it's such a great performance.
I agree with you as someone who still likes the Jesse Eisenberg Lex, not more than this Lex Luthor, as I already stated. This is the definitive cinematic Lex Luthor. But I liked the Jesse Eisenberg because he was showing the jealousy, but as you said, this is done differently. It's there. So yes, on paper, they both were jealous, but this was done just in a way more appealing way.
Yeah, because I think that Jesse Eisenberg, because I like the Jesse Eisenberg Lex too. I just think that, you are very vulnerable and insecure, and jealous. Like that really comes across in everything. But what Nicholas Hoult does really uniquely well is he knows when he has to put on that front.
He gives you some reasonable doubt that maybe he's not jealous until he's like, no, I'm ready to let you know, yes, I am jealous.
Yes,
it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing that I think the Jesse Eisenberg version didn't get, is the idea that he had that consistently through his whole performance because of the story that they wrote for him in what they wrote. Yeah.
My winner is David Cornsweet. I think that what he did as Superman, as I said, this wasn't the moody, grouchy Superman, but he sold the moments where he's like, hey, calling me super shit, that pisses, that upsets me, all of that stuff. The final scene where he's like, I really shouldn't have said that. I really hurt my friend's feelings. I can really be a jerk sometimes. All of that, he sold that without me ever being like, yeah, but this is like the goofy Superman. I was like, no, this is Superman. He wants the best. Again, I know this is a writing thing, but he sold it when he's trying not to kill the kaiju and he's upset that the Justice Gang's plan is to kill the kaiju. All of that made me like, see, this is a good way of doing quote unquote Boy Scout, because I don't think he's a Boy Scout in this, but like this is the palatable way of doing this while also showing like his grit and how strong he is. So I just thought that he nailed this interpretation of Superman.
Yeah. And in all honesty, I should have had him there instead of Pedro Pascal for last episode.
100%.
What are you going to do?
I saw that and I was like, geez.
I am very glad you called me out there. That is very accurate. I wish I could take that back, but it's already done.
And now, the best writing.
My nominations are Peacemaker Season 2. I think genuinely the journey that he's taking is fantastic, and it does go to show one of those things where someone can change, but at the end of the day, I think their familiarity betrays that change a lot, because for Peacemaker to not realize that in that alternate universe that everyone's white and then literally everyone picks up on it right away, I think it really speaks to the complexity of how they've written that character to be basically raised as a white supremacist, but actively being like, no, I'm going to get away from this, but still the familiarity is the thing that he blinds him and makes it so that it's a blind spot that he can't see the racism that's actually in front of him. Batman is my second nomination. Batfam, I should say, is my second nomination.
I was like, we did Batman?
No, we did Batfam. Genuinely, this is one of those things where I'm like, as long as you accept the fact that this is for children, and I'm just stunned by how well it's written, the character arcs, and it does answer that question that I've always had, which I don't think any other Batman fan has ever had, is what would happen if Bruce went to therapy? And you get Batfam, and I think that it's genuine still Batman, but at the end of the day, how is it to actually trust the people around you? I think that's an interesting exploration of the character. Thunderbolts is my third nomination. I think is just such a, again, on the nose thing for what I think a lot of people are dealing with in society right now, which is the idea of being connected through technological means, but not actually being connected to anything or anyone, and that return to form, and ultimately the emotional arc being the saving grace of the actual full story. Whole movie.
You can't punch your way out of problems.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to talk about these things, especially when you're so vastly overpowered. Like, when people are just like, that was dumb. I'm like, no, you're dumb because you want to solve everything with punching and kicking versus let's grow up and mature. You got to talk things through. Yeah. Fourth nomination is Superman. We had a year of Superman before this year, and that year really shaped my expectations of what it was, and oh boy, did this movie really, really meet those expectations of this. And of course, Eyes of Wakanda. I usually am not a big fan of prequels, in the sense where prequels, you get to a destination, but this was truly not presented as a prequel at all up until like, the final like 5 minutes, I should say, of the whole thing, and at that point I was just really like, oh, that is a very clever thing that they did at the end, which didn't make me think at any given point in time that it's just like, okay, we've got to go from point A to point B and that's it. Like the fact that they hid that,
it helped that they were doing an anthology as well, so you do know, oh, it's that axe that Killmonger had in Black Panther, but it's set so far away and moving around in time that you're not like, oh, and they're going to explain how it got there. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that from Black Panther. Cool.
Yeah, but also one thing I love about Eyes of Wakanda is history tends to oversimplify things, and it really dares ask the question of like, what if we had a more holistic understanding of what probably happened during history? Meaning, what if we didn't? What if we actually acknowledged the influence of Black people in the historical events? I know it is not our actual history, but to use historical events like Troy and all that kind of stuff is fantastic way of kind of exploring that, and I thought it was really, really good.
I just want to say, earlier I meant to bring this up too. I almost had Bobby Moynihan as best supporting actor in Batfam. I really liked that show, but it is not represented in any of my nominations, but I did want to say that.
Yeah.
Best writing, Kazuki Nakashima for Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League. When we reviewed it, I talked about how fun I thought it was and how it felt like the people who made it were also having fun. And I took that down to the writing. Obviously, it takes all sorts to make a project like that, but I thought the strong writing came from me being like, I might not get all these references, but it certainly seems like someone's having a good time here, and I'm with that. Then I have Mark Bernardin and Jeffrey Thorne for Eyes of Wakanda. Like you said, they're doing an interesting sleight of hand because they are telling like the prequel story to how did that axe get there for Killmonger to find. But you're not aware of that. It's like a magic trick that's going on where you're just like, oh, like, yeah, that's a good story. And we talked about, obviously we'd seen it all at once, but we were talking about like, oh yeah, and it's about just how Wakanda's like keeping these people from living full lives, and how sad these war dogs are. But then at the end they're like, see, so you see how this is all cyclical. Yeah, I really liked the writing there. I have James Gunn for Superman. I really do feel like it meant something to have a movie be like, well, what if the good guy, like kind of like Thunderbolts, wasn't just trying to kill his problems, but was actually trying to make people's lives better? Like that's what he sees success as. And yeah, I guess I have a bias to seeing James Gunn at least understand how to get across to the world that he wants to be a better person. He's made a bunch of mistakes. He had very edgy humor, probably at an age where he shouldn't have had it. But it seems like he wants to move on from that. And I like that his projects have this undercurrent of aspiring to be better. Even having Superman want to be like better because now he knows what his parents were really after, and him feeling like, oh well, then I'm bad then, and I need to be better. I like that he worked that into a Superman story, which you would have thought there would be a clear path forward with him, but he chose to do it this way. And I know it didn't work for everyone, but I thought that was good. Eric Pearson and Joanna Kahlo for Thunderbolts. I feel like you've said all the things. For a movie to be, I'm pretty sure they did film the movie as group, like under the name Group Hug. Just for the movie to be like, yeah, what are we doing? Like we're stronger together than we are apart, and having them hug and treat their bad guy the way they would like to be treated, I think is beautiful. I think that's great writing. I understand that there's people that go to these things for the power fantasy that would not like that, but since that's not what we're here for, it really worked well for me that the answer in that movie was, you know how you would like to be treated? Why don't you try treating the bad guy like that? Maybe you'll get somewhere. And I understand that Sentry isn't actually the bad guy, but he was the antagonist for a bit of it.
That's right.
And then Jeff Trammell, Charlie Nooner, and Raven Cohn for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Nice.
What they did with Tombstone was great. What they did with Norman Osborn was great. Yeah, there's fun stuff. We haven't really talked about Spider-Man in the Spider-Man show, but they get him through all of the phases of Spider-Man that you'd want to see. And yeah, I like that this show kind of like folds in on itself, that you're like, oh, that's how he became Spider-Man. It's like this, I can't remember what type of time loop it's called, but it's like because he went back in time, that's where the spider that turned him into Spider-Man actually. And I just thought that was very interesting in a show that also gave us a character like Lonnie Lincoln, where you're like, wait, he's supposed to be the bad guy, but he's so nice and he's the best and he's looking out for Peter. And then you're like, oh, I see where we're going with this. It's unfortunate, but great. So yeah, those are my 5 nominations.
And the spoilie goes to...
My winner is Thunderbolts. I thought it was just such a fantastically written movie. And it did the thing that I was secretly hoping for, which is what Guardians of the Galaxy did, is like, hey, let's take a whole bunch of ragtag people that I don't care that much about, put them together, and actually make me care a lot about them. And I think it did such a good job. And like I said, with technological distance, not having community, I thought that it spoke to me in a very, very, very deep way for where I'm at in my life right now.
That makes sense. I like that. For me, it's James Gunn's Superman. I think the movie does a lot to not just hit the pleasure center of people who are already in for Superman. Like, I don't know a lot about Superman, to be clear. He's not really my guy, but I like that there's the wrinkle of, oh, Lois wants to dump Superman. I like that there's the wrinkle of, oh, like, Superman thought he was from this race of people who just wanted the best out of everything, and then he sees this video that's like, yeah, man, fucking take advantage of those idiots over there. You got to colonize that place. And that's what he's fighting back against. And that, yeah, I really like all of those additional things. So to me, the writing there just edged out Thunderbolts, because that would have, if there was a hierarchy there, that would have been second place. But yeah, Superman for me, in terms of writing, just edged it out.
And now, the best directing.
I unfortunately only have 3 nominations in this, but I think that should be okay. My first nomination is James Gunn for Superman. Like you said, that he is actively communicating to us that he is making different choices. And I think for him to be able to write that, like you said, the Kal-El stuff and the Krypton stuff into Superman, where it's just like, oh, okay, he was raised one way and it's about the decisions that he makes that makes him different and all that kind of stuff, to be like, hey, I get that that's my original programming, but screw this. And he brings that to Peacemaker as well. But in James Gunn's Superman, I just think he does such a great job with all these actors that I don't know too well. And to pull that together visually and all that kind of stuff, it is just absolutely fantastic. He has such a great thumbprint on storytelling. Then I have Jake Schreier for Thunderbolts. Again, talked this movie to death within this episode, but just the ability to pull people together and really look at what we're all missing and how we need community more than ever is a fantastic message here. And then Angela Barnes for the episode Karma's a Glitch in Ironheart. Like I said just, earlier in the episode, where that is just the episode that Natalie, the AI, dies, to make me feel something about that in such a different way, to allow me to understand why so many people right now are actively calling their AI partners their partners and having emotional investment in that. I'm like, yep, that perfectly communicates it. So those are my 3 top directors.
My nominations are Junpei Mizusaki and Shinji Takagi for Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League. Yep, they did some good writing. They had some cool costumes, but it all came together nicely for me. And I would put that down to directing. Matt Shackman for the Fantastic Four First Steps. There was very clearly a specific vision for that movie. and I have to give respect to Matt Shackman for getting that across, even though I think people kind of were rough on his movie. I do feel like he I mean, there were options. There were some choices they made, like cutting out John Malkovich, but visually, I think he was able to do it, and all of their powers looked good on screen, which I think is a big deal as well, including Galactus.
Yeah.
So all of that, I have to respect the director for getting all of that together, using his team effectively to get that vision across. Sam Bailey and Angela Barnes for Ironheart, just the whole show. I thought, like, down to the very creative title cards they had each episode or some episodes, everything there to me felt interesting, even if I wasn't completely able to articulate what I felt. I was always leaning into the show and felt engaged by it. Then Brian Andrews for Marvel Zombies. I think this mostly comes down to like stuff they've put in the trailer, just like Spider-Man taking all the zombies' heads off. There's just these shots that are great, and I understand that that's not just the director's job, but the buck kind of stops at them in terms of getting all the teams together to make those types of moments happen and look the way they need to look. And then Jake Schreier for Thunderbolts. Some people might argue he didn't. I think he did balance all the characters well. I know there's people that are, I mean, first they were upset that Taskmaster was a woman at all, but then they were upset that she got killed off. But I understood what they were getting at, and I appreciated it. That it was just like, well, someone's got to die, and I like that it was the person that Yelena had saved in the last movie we'd seen her in, and that it meant something to her. Maybe I'm talking about fridging, but I don't think it plays out that way exactly. It's just more something she has to reckon with. But yeah, I thought that visually it looked great. And yeah, there was a great balance of tone there, which ultimately I think is the director's job, is balancing that tone.
I'm Victor Stiff, and I'm a film festival programmer and a writer for That Shelf and Exclaim, and I'm here to talk about a movie I love so much, Thunderbolts. It's the Avengers movie that nobody was asking for, but we all secretly needed. I love this film for so many reasons. We all know the MCU has fallen from grace, and every film arrives with just massive expectations, but Thunderbolts was one of the rare films that like recaptured the magic and reminded us of the reason we all fell in love with the MCU. It has a lovable cast of heroes who I just love spending time with, and kick-ass action scenes too. It has some of the grittiest, most grounded and exciting fight choreography since Captain America Civil War. It's really hard-hitting and impactful and doesn't rely on too much CGI, and I just love that about the film. But beyond that, it's really emotionally sophisticated. It's a story that deals with forgiveness and redemption and the concept of healing over punishment. And the final showdown with the big villain in the film, it doesn't end with punches or people shooting lasers out of their eyes. It ends with people giving each other hugs. A superhero film tackling mental health that never feels like it's shoehorned in. You get all the action and excitement, but you get this emotionally profound conclusion too, and that's why this film just stands the test of time, and I just watch it over and over again, and it never gets old. And the cherry on top is that stinger with the Fantastic Four that gets me pumped every single time. Love this movie, can't recommend it enough.
And the spoilie goes to...
Yeah, my winner is gonna be James Gunn's for Superman. He just, one of my favorite directors, one of my favorite storytellers, period, in this decade, and he's just done such a fantastic job with Superman that, you know, I don't know how this whole acquisition deal and all that kind of stuff's gonna play out, but I genuinely hope we get to see more of his vision. But yeah, I gotta talk about that off mic because obviously that's developed, but and I want to know more about it. But I genuinely hope that we get more of his vision, because him being like the Kevin Feige of DC, I was like, yeah, that's awesome, great, and now it's just in turmoil. So
yeah.
Yeah.
My winner is Jake Schreier for Thunderbolts.
Nice.
I think that he did a great job of, as I said, balancing the tone of the movie and letting the moments that needed to land. What we've mentioned it 3 times at this point, with Florence Pugh and David Harbour together on the street. There's just so many moments that come together so nicely, and yes, the acting is there, the writing's there, but I credit his directing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And now, the best project, film or TV.
Okay.
All right.
We're here. We're
final
at the
category.
Best movie or TV show.
That's right. All right. My nominations are Superman. Like I said, it's just one of those things that I don't know if this is what other people see in Superman and why they think that that's their guy, but this Superman to me, I'm like, yeah, this is great, because I think fundamentally I have had this conversation with someone that really loves film and cinema and really takes the Scorsese criticism of like these are these superhero movies and all that kind of stuff. They're amusement park rides and all that kind of stuff. I think the interesting thing about superhero movies is not the power fantasy. It's how much the characters strive to be human despite the power that they have. And I think this movie does such a good job of being like, no, he's fundamentally a human. Down to every decision that he makes, like that first trailer that we got of him like just landing and losing his first fight, like all those things really, really add up to be like, okay, this is a different take on Superman, in the sense where I'm like, I really believe that he can lose a fight. There's no other version of Superman where I think he can lose a fight. Then I have my second nomination, Thunderbolts. I've talked that to death, but it is just truly one of the best things of last year. And it did not do the box office that it deserved to do, and that is just such a shame, because it was genuinely such a good piece of storytelling. Third nomination, Eyes of Wakanda. This is just one of those things, like I said, whenever you can find a way to weave in the story with historical events that we already know, or historical stories that we already know, very much like, and this is what I thought was a big letdown from Loki season 1. Like, I thought they would just constantly go towards historical events and explain that it was Loki and all that kind of stuff, because I keep forgetting that airplane guy that steals the money and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that they did that, I thought was fantastic. In Loki and Eyes of Wakanda, they build off that even more, and I think that's really, really, really cool. And then to also have Wakandans in China, I thought that was really, really fantastic in that whole Iron Fist episode. Bat Fam, I think genuinely out of left field, this caught me off guard. I did not realize I would love this as much as I did. And I really, really, truly did. It's fun. Like I said, it answers the question of what if Bruce went to therapy and it worked? Because he does go to therapy in every other iteration. Like, to be clear, I don't know if I said that before, but it's whether or not it worked. and like, because I think it's Leslie Tompkins, or like that's the character in the animated
She's
series
more like she just helps him with his bumps and bruises. But yeah, she does have some form of therapeutic aspects,
right. But in this, it's just like, hey, to really see him. I will say the whole thing about him having a beard it's a choice for sure, but it's a weird choice. And then finally, my final nomination is Peacemaker season 2. Again, this has got to do with my love for James Gunn, but Peacemaker season 2, it built off and expanded more of the fun things that I've come to really expect from Peacemaker, but also the idea of like, okay, how does he revisit these biases that he has, the racism, that internalized racism that he's had, in a different way? Because, you know, after season 1, you're like, cool, he beat the White Dragon, racism's defeated, and all that kind of stuff. Eye roll, insert eye roll. But the idea of Peacemaker season 2, where it's just like, oh no, he's actively finding different dimensions and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that he doesn't confront his own feelings about feeling the most comfortable in an all-white neighborhood, and then also not seeing all the Nazi propaganda around him, is just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, see, you can do the thing, you can be performative about it, but at the end of the day, you still have to make different decisions. You still have to actively push yourself to notice those things. And I like the fact that it allows the character to make the mistake of being temporarily comfortable in a racist society, but still actively, when he's confronted with that, he's like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. And really forces everything, you know, his own way and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, John Cena just bringing that level of vulnerability to the character, I think, is just wildly good.
That's 5, right?
That is 5.
So my 5 are Batman, Ninja versus Yakuza League. Yeah, I love that they used the Bat Family. They used the Justice League. It's everything I would want out of a Batman thing, and everything I didn't know I would like to see. Eyes of Wakanda. It really, I was already high on it when we reviewed it, but it's just grown on me. It just stuck with me. It's just really well done, and unfortunately only like 4 episodes, but I would love to see more of that. Superman, I'm as surprised as anyone else that's here, but as you said, we also were prepping ourselves by watching different Superman things before the release of this, including a show that I didn't think we'd be able to top in terms of Superman and Lois. And this movie found its way to be its own thing. Thunderbolts, for all the reasons you've said, I think it is a beautiful message for people, and I really do like Florence Pugh as Yelena. And then Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I think it's kind of like Batman Ninja. It's like, there was some things I didn't know I wanted to see, and I got to see them, and there was things that I was like, yeah, okay, I'm glad we're doing this. And we didn't talk about it, but yeah, they commit to doing like Scorpion, and I was like, to not just praise the tombstone of it. It was like, yeah, man, like this seems like the right villain for him to begin with, but also we did say kind of like, I mean, what happens when they one up this, because he seemed pretty much unbeatable. But yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed that as well. It's another show that grew on me with time, while still having the complaint of them not really landing the plane with the character we really liked, but still having room to do better in the second season.
Hey guys, it's James, aka Mr. Green from Geek, live every Friday at 7 p.m. Also available on Mondays as a podcast. Thanks for asking me to pick my favorite film/TV project of 2025. Lots of options, but for me, super easy to pick one. It was Superman. There was no doubt, 0 doubts, absolutely 0 doubts. When I look at that film, it's amazing to me as I watched it, like looking at David Corenswet, he doing his Clark and Superman thing. It's fantastic at it. He really captures the essence of the character while coming at it from a more modern lens. His interview scene, for example, with Lois about the Moravian politics and his recent incursion was a great moment in the film, as was his final monologue to Lex. So much good stuff there. Lois, from that scene, but really in the third act, gets to be an actual investigative reporter on the screen, which, let's face facts, other than maybe in some of the animated stuff, she rarely gets to do, and is helpful throughout the entire film, including the climax, and is a major part of why Lex gets taken down. Without her, everything starts to fall apart. You know, sure, Superman would have kicked his ass, and that's fine, but would he have gotten to go to prison? Not without Lois. And Lex himself, man. Nicholas Holt's Lex, while at moments I was having a hard time with him, but that had more to do with the fact that his version of the billionaire class that we kind of have right now is cringe-inducing and hard to watch, you know, but that's a testament to his ability to create a really amazing, cool character and create a Lex that is both the ruthless businessman, but also quite capable as a human being to combat and potentially take down Superman. And we see that throughout the entirety of the film until, obviously, his eventual downfall. But with all those three, I have to say that the entire cast, like as awesome as those three people were throughout, the performances all the way down through the entire supporting cast is amazing. They kill it. And then the rest of the film, the action hits, the jokes hit, especially the emotional elements hit throughout the entirety of the film. It just is so good on so many different levels. And then on top of all of that, a film with as many characters, both heroes and villains, managing to juggle all of that. And at no point do you feel that the story, like any story fatigue or desire to jump back to another character. You just keep wanting to see what's happening next and what the new surprise is going to be. At the end, it really comes down to this. This film reminds me of why I love movies, superheroes, and especially Superman. Easy 10 out of 10. Actually, I'm going to go rewatch it right now. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Daniel.
And the spoilie goes to...
My winner for Best Movie / TV, the 2025 season, is Superman. It is by far, of the ones that I listed, the one that I would watch over and over and over again, because it's got deep messages, but also is fun to watch. I think Thunderbolts, as much as I love it, it's hard to watch because it re-triggers those feelings of depression, isolation, all that kind of stuff. And even though the message is great, even though it's so well done, it's not an easy watch for me. It's something that pulls a lot on heavy emotions. But for Superman, it is, believe it or not, hopeful. And that to me is, especially, I think when we did our Superman episode, we talked at great lengths of how wonderful it was that his final scene was him looking at memories of his Kansas family and actively recognizing it's like, hey, you're he's overly romanticized his Kryptonian family and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, your family is the ones that you choose to spend the most time and effort and all that kind of stuff in. And Superman is just the most fun of the entire list of my nominations.
Well, we have another diamond level winner. Superman. It was hard because I really like Thunderbolts, but I don't really like the character Superman, but I love this movie, and the thing I've been having to bite my tongue with knowing that I was going to end on this was that, yeah, like to have this movie actively engage in what would be the occupation of Palestine, and I understand that that's not how it started when they were first writing it, but it's very clear from casting choices. What's his face from Wonder Man? Very clearly being a Benjamin Netanyahu stand-in, and loving what Hawk Girl does to him. But that the movie is not afraid of that, like, whereas Disney is, obviously. Like, that's they find their moments, but it was great to have this. As much as you say it's a fun movie, it's also braver than the other movies because of having your hero talk about, like, you know what, like, it doesn't matter what and I'm just going to use the real life examples because I don't remember what they're called in the movie. It doesn't matter what the Palestinians did. That gives no right to the Israelis to come in there and do what they're doing.
Yep.
And that rubs off on the other heroes. It isn't just that's Superman. It's like they see the power of what he's doing and what he's trying to get at, and it affects them to the point where they help out with that. It was very clear to me that needed to get the award for best movie of 2025. As much as I like Thunderbolts, it really came down to what it was engaging in. And no, they don't name it, but it's very clear what's going on. As I said, if you had any doubt, look at who they cast as the president of the other country. It is, it's very powerful. It's very brave. And then you also leave the theater on a high when they have the setup of, do you want to watch a video of your parents? And that's what he does when he's recovering. And then it's Ma and Pa Kent instead of the Kryptonians. And I cried a bit, and I'm just like, but I'm also like pumping my fist, and I still listen to I'm a Punk Rocker. It's a great song. It's a great moment, and overall great movie for what it's dealing with.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you spoke to the political things that I didn't get a chance to. But it's just, I'm glad we got another Diamond Level winner for our best movie in TV for 2025.
We should go through who the winners were here. So for best costume, you had
Eyes of Wakanda.
And I had Batman Ninja. And then best score, you had
Superman.
And I had Thunderbolts. And then for best supporting actors, we had Diamond Level.
Lyric Ross as Natalie for Ironheart.
Best supporting actor, you had
Derek Liu for Gen V Season 2.
And I had Eugene Bird for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. He played Tombstone. Boy, that's not going to be good on the mic. And
for
then
best actress, I had we both had Florence Pugh for Thunderbolts. Another Diamond Level winner.
Best actor. Oh yeah, you had Nicholas Hoult in category font. And I had David Cornsweet. So that's a nice little. It's not a Diamond Level, but it is a nice little.
In the same
they're in the same movie.
Yep.
Best writing,
Thunderbolts.
And I had Superman. And then best director, you had James Gunn.
Yep.
For Superman.
That's correct.
And
not for Creatures Commandos.
Could have been.
It could have been. It could have been that.
He had a bunch of things out.
He had a big year. Big year.
And I had Jake Schreier for Thunderbolts, and then we had Diamond Level for best movie / TV or TV show, but it was movie for Superman.
Yep.
Yeah, we did it, man. That's it.
That's right.
Now it's time to just say thank you very much for listening to the award show. Thank you to everyone who joined in as a special guest. We really appreciate it. You did not have to do it, but you did, and we love it. You can go into the show notes to see where you can find all those lovely people and catch up with their shows or whatever it is they're doing. They're very cool guests on our show, and they're very cool people in real life, so get to know them. As for us, you can go to tdfeverything.com/spoiledrotten, and you will find all sorts of ways to connect with us. For instance, you might see our email, which is spoiledpodcast@gmail.com, or that we are at tdfspoiled on Instagram, Threads, Lemonade, TikTok, YouTube, and that you can subscribe on the podcast platform of your choice. Then from there, why don't you comment, share with your friends, follow, do all that great stuff. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
This has been a TDF Everything production, brah.